Well, welcome again to another edition of Podcast PIM. I'm your host, Dr. J, and it is always a privilege and a pleasure to be able to come your way and share with you something that we feel, my wife and I feel like would help increase the longevity and the happiness of your marriage. That's what we call it, PIM, Partners in Marriage. Not a contract, but it is definitely a covenant. We'll talk more about that and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, if you will, in just a moment. But before I do that, please go to our website at partnersinmarriage.com. We want to come to your area and do some workshops and share with you. We counsel families and friends and those who are planning to get married, premarital counseling as well. So we'd like to get with you on some of those things. So let us know. We love to be a part of that with you. Now, I want to talk with you about being happy with yourself because it's important for you and I to recognize before we start moving into marriages and families and raising children and being involved in church government and natural government, community government, state government, whatever your role is, you first got to like yourself. It's obvious that we have leaders in our country right now. They don't like themselves. It's obvious. And the things that they do in public, there's no way in the world you can be somebody quiet, reserved, loving, and kind in private. You cannot be something different. So it's obvious if you can be that horrible and that mean and vindictive and jealous and whatever else we can put out there, there's some unhappy people leading our country, leading our churches, leading our educational systems, and so on. So I want to talk with you about, first of all, liking yourself. That's important because there are four spheres that we have to deal with, four worlds that you and I live in. We live in the individual world, and that's one we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk a little about the family world and the church world and the governmental or governing world. We all live in those worlds. And if you don't get it right in the first one, if you don't like yourself, and that's something you can do about certain things that you don't like, and we'll talk about that. And that's pretty simple because you love yourself because you haven't killed yourself. You love yourself because you are trying to take care physically, washing, and all the things that we do to show that we love ourselves. But you also need to like your vocabulary. If you don't like it, you can change it. Add words to it. Study that. If you don't like the weight that you've gained, you can do something about it. We've got to take dominion over the things that we should take dominion over. And that's important, knowing what you can change. So liking yourself, liking the way that you interact with people, liking the way that you can handle business, liking the way that you communicate with those who are a little different than you, difficult, if you will, then that's good because you have to have those skills before you start moving into family. Before you start a family, before you marry someone, before you go into their lives, please make sure that you like your own because you cannot leave not liking yourself and join with someone else and expect to be happy. Happiness comes from you as an individual feeling good about you. Now, to have an individual relationship, you've got to have your relationship with God right. You've got to know and understand that family, marriage are God's idea. He's the one who created the idea of marriage and family. And you can't do it better than what God has provided in His Word on how to do it. Now, we've got some weird situations going around in this world today because people are trying to redefine everything. They are trying to redefine character and integrity, the human race and sexualism, and you name it. They're trying to redefine it. You know why? Because they can't create. God did not give Satan, Lucifer, the ability to create anything. All he can do is pervert. That's why he needs a human body to get into, because that's what they do, getting into human beings and cause them to create an atmosphere that is negative, create atmospheres that are counterproductive. That's what we do as human beings when we allow ourselves to be filled with satanic feelings and emotions and being oppressed and possessed by things that are not of God. So if you really want to know what an individual should be and could be, ought to be, it's in the Word. What God established in the beginning with Adam, the man. You see, you just can't jump up and say, I'm going to leave this environment of the home I'm in and just find me a Jane, I'm Tarzan, or you're Jane, I'm going to find my Tarzan, whatever, and then say we're going to live happily ever after. That only works in the entertainment world, in movies. They met each other. They fell in love. They didn't have anything but love, and they were happy ever after. Nada. That does not happen. It takes work. It takes commitment. It takes beginning liking yourself. And this is where we are seeing too many people in roles. They're trying to get kudos. They're trying to get somebody to like their page. They're trying to do performance-based activities so that someone can like them, and they don't like themselves unless someone likes them doing some activity or some performance. That's not what you have to be or should be. If you're going to be the man or the woman, you need to be to go to that next level, to start a family and to bring that family to church, to be active in that church, to be a part of a community, a culture, a government, a governing body of people who have rules and regulations, of making relationships stronger by having these rules, protecting people, being great citizens, you name it. All of that cannot take place until we first and foremost love the individual, that sphere that we're in. So you have the individual sphere, you have the family sphere, you have the church, and then you have the government. And until there is a real commitment there, what happens is we'll find ourselves being angry with everything and everybody. That has to change. So, liking yourself. God designed marriage. God designed family. If you want to know what it looks like, it's in the Word of God. You know, it's pretty simple if you pay attention to it. But when you try to be all brand new, like some people I work with, I'm trying to send out some nice, encouraging words. And I notice every time I send out something, they try to come up with another angle. It's okay, well, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll just stop sending it to you and send it to other people. If people want to be negative, it's because something is not working right. Now, you got a vehicle, right? Or you got a house with an air conditioner, right? You got a